Hi, I'm Bob Ramsey, and this is A Big Idea. As a leader, it's important to address the positive and negative behaviors of your direct reports. But if your responses are inconsistent, then you can seriously damage their productivity. This story starts back in 1967, when researchers were shocking dogs. The first group of dogs being shocked had a lever that they could push to stop the shocks, but the second group didn't. After several rounds, the researchers put the dogs one at a time into a box where one side would shock them and the other didn't. When the dogs from the first group received the shock, they jumped to the other side. But when the dogs from the second group received the shock, they just laid down and whimpered. These dogs in the second group had learned to be helpless. There was no rhyme or reason to their shocks, so they gave up. This is the law of learned helplessness. And it works with humans too. A 2016 experiment observed what happens when people receive feedback from a supervisor. There were 3 groups of participants. The first always received respectful feedback. The second group always received disrespectful feedback. And the third group received a mix of feedback, sometimes respectful, sometimes disrespectful, with no rhyme or reason. Then, after each round of feedback, the researchers measured the stress levels of each participant. When they crunched the numbers, the data was clear. First off, as expected, those who received fair, respectful feedback had the lowest stress levels. But you might not expect what came next. Those with the highest stress levels weren't those who received constant disrespect. It was the people who received mixed feedback. Think about that. It was more stressful for people to get inconsistent treatment than consistently negative treatment. When this study was replicated in actual work environments, the same conclusion held. Inconsistent feedback is more stressful than consistently disrespectful feedback. And when people didn't know what to expect from their bosses, they actually reported higher levels of job dissatisfaction and emotional exhaustion. In other words, they were shutting down, just like the dogs. That's the law of learned helplessness. When people receive inconsistent feedback, they shut down. In my years as a professional coach, I've seen this mistake over and over. Leaders address the same behavior differently on different occasions, ignoring it one day and exploding the next. Leaders are often too distracted to notice it, but their people pick up on it immediately. They call it unfair, which it is, and this makes them disengage. That's the law of learned helplessness. Okay, here are some quick tips. Number 1, decide in advance which behaviors to address. Don't make these judgments on the fly. Determine what behaviors should get what feedback away from the heat of the moment. Give yourself a time and a place where you can think. Number 2, practice your feedback beforehand. Say it aloud to yourself, in a mirror, or to a trusted colleague. Visualize yourself doing it perfectly. Start building the neural pathways beforehand so that when the time comes, you'll know how to act. And 3, acknowledge your inconsistency. If you've made errors, then own up to them. Tell people that they deserve consistency and that you intend to provide it for them. Doing this will balance the error and reaffirm the standard. When I coach people, I have time to dive a bit deeper and discuss questions like how to decide which behaviors should be consistently addressed and how to give feedback when the other person really gets under your skin. But for now, I hope this was valuable, and when you lead others, remember the law of learned helplessness. I'm Bob Ramsey. Good luck.